Oh yeah, so this is officially the latest, most delayed podcast known to mankind. Purely and utterly my sake and my sake only. I'm sorry. Basically, we recorded what, two or three podcasts, and
We've got a shit ton backloaded.
yeah, we've got loads of content ready. And I just through my midlife crisis, I say I just didn't get around to posting it. So this is me out of prep and coming
Alive.
alive again to post content. Speaking of people alive, Taylor isn't currently alive. He's
Yeah.
waking up from a nap, so he might be
Yeah.
joining us in a little bit.
Yeah.
But me and Billy were basically talking and waiting for Taylor to come and join us, and we actually got into a really interesting topic. So I thought, fuck it, hit record, and we'll listen to it. So yeah, basically we're just talking about me and my prep, which I'm sure we'll get back to in a minute. But Billy was just talking about a conversation he was having with someone, and it was just about prep, why you're doing it, and all that sort of thing. So yeah, like you were saying, Billy, it was having a conversation with your client, and he was sort of saying what?
Yeah, I think strip it back first that this is someone who is who's like a first timer as well, mate. So he's never done any of this before. So
Yeah,
every single day for the past 20 weeks is a look that he's never seen before. He's never felt, he's never looked as good as he looks every single day. Then he'll have no issues with me mentioning him anyway. But my client James, he's my friend James before, yeah. But basically checked in the other week, and basically the conversation was he didn't want all of this prep to be for nothing. So we kind of had the conversation. I said, well, what is nothing to you? If nothing is anything less than first place, then you kind of need to really like reevaluate what it is and what it is.
Why are you doing it? Why are you putting yourself through it?
Yeah, 100%. Because I can guarantee you now, if like a £15, a £10 plastic medal and ribbon around your neck is going to justify 21 weeks of like absolute hell, you're mistaken, because you'll step off that stage and within 24 hours you've forgotten about the trophy, and everyone else who's gone through it with you has forgotten about the trophy, and it's not about that. So kind of just going through the process, going through the motions of like understanding that it's the process of prep, it's the past 19-20 weeks that is the win from prep. It's what you do it for. Proving, I almost say like proving to yourself that you can go through like a hard
rough time.
A really rough time, which, let's have it right, like 99% of people would find it really, really hard to do.
That is like, I know minimal people that can do a prep and go, yeah, that's easy. Like I've never met one.
Yeah. So what I was saying to him is, like, you need to go into this with no expectations, no minimum, like I want first or second or an invite to a final, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
You just need to get up there and know that you've done absolutely everything you could, love the process of getting there, look the best you've ever looked, and you're going to celebrate it with your nearest and dearest.
100%. Yeah.
That is a win. And I've said to him, like, I honestly, as much as like placing would be a bonus, it is nothing but a bonus, right? The fact that you've made the step of actually standing on a stage for someone who is so introverted, he's basically inside out, that's a win, mate. What you're going to take from that going into the rest of your life is like you would not believe, mate.
Like, at the end of the day, like you said, prep is one of these things where it's like, without sounding too much like fucking Chris Bumstead, like one thing that I kept saying to myself was like, prep is a privilege. Like the whole thing of like fucking Bumstead is like, oh, pressure is a privilege. That's a whole different scenario, because he literally has the whole world looking at him to be first.
Yeah.
But what I kept telling myself was like, prep isn't actually a privilege. Like there's not many people in the world that can do an off season to get into a position to do it. They can financially be in a position to support themselves through it. They can be in a headspace to make it through 20 odd weeks. Like all these things that like prep is something that you choose to do. If you don't want to do it, get the fuck out. Like, you should enjoy well, not enjoy every minute of it, because there's inevitably going to be a lot of
You
time
need
you hate. But
to fight as hard as you can to find enjoyment in as much of it as you can.
yeah,
And unfortunately, that means like when it does get tough, when it does get hard, when you are absolutely fucked and dead on your feet, it's impossible to say. Like, you've just got to find as much like
yeah.
a win in that as you possibly can.
So the difference for me between my first prep and this prep was my first prep. I'd be on like cardio, and I'd get to like 30 minutes, and I'd logbook
Yeah,
every single cardio session, and I would try and beat the distance, time, level, and like I'd take progressive overload to cardio, and there was a point of joy of like 18 weeks deep, like on a fucking Wednesday, you've done 3 cardio sessions beforehand in the week, and you're then sitting there on a bike, you're fucking absolutely battered, you've had like 100 grams of carbs in the last 48 hours, and you're sitting there and you're going, I'm still progressing, and you find that joy in like the tiniest little things, and I loved every second of it.
Yeah.
Where the back end of this prep, mate, I was walking across a golf course, looking at my watch, counting down every single step, like, am I at 2,000 yet? Am I at fucking 3,000 yet? I'm no, okay, I've done 800 steps. Fuck. Like, so that's the difference. Like, and just a note as well, like, your guy is
just on that, just before you say that, but before we jump onto something, I want to, one thing that I don't know why it is a massive bugbear of mine, is on socials, when I see on people's stories, it'll be like a check-in picture or something, and they're like, praying my coach gives me a refeed, or praying for some carbs today. And I'm like, are you some sort of dumb cunt? Like, this is what you're choosing to do. Like, stop, go and eat the carbs if that's what you really want. What you
if that's what you want in life, go and eat a fucking bagel.
You know what I mean? Like, praying, hoping I get a refeed today. Like, are you, like, you're doing this for the wrong reasons? I would be hoping that my coach would say to me, yes, do this, do that. Not, I hope I get more food today. Like, that is when people are doing it purely for like just
for the social, for the picture.
Yeah,
they do it for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
Like, again, coming back to my first prep compared to this one, I remember checking in my first year, and I'd like send my check in to Josh, and there'd be part of me which is like, deep down, you're like, yeah, okay, like, let's get a fucking high day, let's get 100 grams.
Yeah. I'll be lying if we said 100%.
Yeah. Like we there's all a little bit we'll want you, but I'd like send it out.
Yeah.
And my overall like thing would be like, okay, I actually hope he pulls food because I want to get fucking leaner.
Yeah.
Like, you get the message back of like,
it's very, you're gonna try it, but if you get knocked back, it's the case of fuck, but crack on.
Yeah. Like, he'd be like, okay, pull 50 grams of potatoes, and it's like, okay, that's half of my carbs gone for the day, but fuck it, let's get leaner.
Yeah.
Like,
I remember this made me laugh. It was I was probably about, I don't even know, I want to say about 6-7 weeks out, maybe. And it was my granddad's birthday. He had a massive party. And I messaged Josh and was like, would I be able to have like a slice of birthday cake? I tried to have a slice of birthday cake to celebrate with my granddad. Just try playing on like my granddad's birthday. Just come back straight away. He was like, no, not really, mate, or something on them lines. Yep, that's it.
There's like that little glimmer of hope of like, there's an old man in the corner.
It's not until you look back and you're like, you try it every which way, didn't you? But
mate, like, we've all been there, we've all tried it 100%. Like, it is what it is. But what I was gonna say about your guy is like, the thing is as well for him, I'm not gonna like get him up or anything like that, but I've seen a couple of pictures that you've posted of him and stuff, and the guy looks fucking incredible for a first timer. Like, straight up, like, it's just clicking. Like, he looks fucking good.
Do you know what I contribute a lot of the success of his prep down to?
Is all you?
Is the relationship that we've got, of me, of just the coaching aspect, the relationship that we've got, because first and foremost, we're friends. Like, we went to secondary school together. He got into bodybuilding, like transitioned into bodybuilding because he was like power building before, like some weird David Lade shit. and then I got him into bodybuilding and started from scratch with him. So it's been from like, from like a concept to fuck,
Yeah.
this is fruition.
This is actually happening. Like,
Yeah, and it's like I say he does no questions asked, but questions asked when they need to be asked. Like,
it's the first time he's going to question everything. Let's be
oh,
honest. Like,
100%.
it's gonna...
He'll I'll tell you what, we'll have to get him on. Like when he's finished, we'll get him on and we'll do a podcast with him. But the amount of times like he'll put food in his story, and I'm like, the other day he had one up and it had like what did he have on it? This one, something like sesame seeds or something like that, as like a garnish.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, you do understand that there's like there's
bits in there.
there's fat in there, right? It's like, oh, fuck, like everything I'm trying. Why am I trying to do it? Like, that was like, at this point, like I can tell he wants to have me blocked on Instagram. Yeah, I do. But also at the same time, like I want to bring my best. So, but yeah,
well, mate, he's coming in fucking well. So keep the fucking sesame seeds out, and he'll be good.
Yeah, exactly it. But yeah, 3 weeks now, man. 3 weeks.
Yeah, because that's the week after what is the London, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, 3 weeks, because it would have been 2 from Manchester. So yeah, 3 weeks. Yeah. Mate, that's like, this is going to be an exciting couple of weeks as well, then.
Very, yeah.
Because these are the 2 weeks where it's just like you just feel like damn.
We'll do like we've got our mock trial peak, whatever you want to call it.
So what you can do that like 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out.
What was that?
You can do it like 2-3 weeks out.
2 weeks, 2 weeks out, mock, and then obviously
deplete and then reload again and
do it again.
Yeah, that'd be good because he's looking for a first timer.
Yeah.
He does look on point. He's got like, he's not the biggest guy around, like, but he's just got unreal shape. Like, I would say I'd put him up, but yeah, he's just, take my word for it, he's just got fucking incredible shape.
Yeah, I would like for a first timer to be as conditioned as he is, like trying to explain to him like, you need to be very proud of where you're at the minute, man. Like
there's a lot of first timers. If you like look at first timers, there's a lot of guys that come in and they're like maybe 4 weeks out.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's not me knocking on anyone. Like, it's first timer. You're never going to hit the nail on the head first time. Like some guys do, but realistically, you're never going to hit it first time. It's going to take a couple shows.
Well, from a first timers aspect, is like, I think people underestimate like quite a lot in terms of condition is down to actually having the tissue in the first place. Which obviously is a lot of first timers don't tend to, but yeah, we'll see.
Well, yeah. 3 weeks, man. 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And we'll get him on and we'll, I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll make him answer some stupid sucking dick question or something.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll get him to run through like his prep slip ups that he's had with regards to like nutrition and whatnot.
All his coach's mistakes for the last 20 minutes.
Yeah. Literally. Yeah,
he'll come in. He just slates you just for 20 minutes straight. Just worst experience. Coach neglected me.
Never went into it again. Yeah, man.
No, but it's good that you've got that friendship there.
Yeah, I think it's quite a person dependent thing as well. Like some people need and buzz off of that, having a decent relationship with someone, and then other people can just check in, check out type. But
we had this conversation probably a couple of months back. It feels like forever ago now. Just saying about like sometimes when you're like online coaching, like you're not just an online coach.
Oh yeah, I had this conversation with Josh McCall the other day.
Yeah, and that's the truth. Like I can say that for Josh with me as well. Like I'm now, so here you go, some news. I'm now self-coached. I'm not with Josh anymore.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah, a lot's happened in the last few. So just to get something straight, there's nothing's like happened between me or Josh. No, like, I just said to him, I said, look, the situation I'm in now with the moves that I'm doing. So other news as well is I'm now moving to the Open. I've stopped prep. I'm moving to the Open, and I'm not with Josh anymore. So that's pretty much all the news that we needed to get through there.
Wow.
But essentially, stepping back from prep is like, okay.
Sorry, that's just done that. You just done a whole 180 on everything there.
Oh man, everything's just done a fucking 180 in my life. Trust me. Like I'm now a pole dancer.
Yeah,
I've started OnlyFans.
Sometimes that is what's needed.
Yeah,
just a complete. revamp.
It's essentially like when we were talking just before this, like I was saying, like for me, what I enjoy about bodybuilding is just fucking training, just growing. And when you're looking at something like classic, I'm nowhere near a pro level, so I'm not necessarily worried about a weight cap, but there is always going to be a limitation there for weight cap. You're always trying to keep things in shape, keep things in order. And I was having a conversation with Dan Bastic, and he was saying, look, like one thing you got to understand is bodybuilding is bodybuilding. Like just because you have good shape doesn't mean you're a classic bodybuilder. He's like, an open class bodybuilder is just a big guy with good shape. He's like, that's just a classic guy, but bigger. He's like, just because you're a bodybuilder doesn't mean you have to have bad shape. Like, you want good shape still. So he's like, you've got good shape. If you want to do open, just be bigger. So like it's like as simple as that.
I think everyone thinks as soon as you transition to bodybuilding, you're like Marcus Rule type shit, and
it's like people look at someone and go, he's got a small waist, he's just going to be classic, or that they look at someone and go, he doesn't have shape, he's now open. And it's like, well, no, you can train to look a certain way. Like shape is just one thing which is harder to train. But yeah, that was just something that stood out to me, because it was like, well, why
do I have a real? I can already see you with DB.
Well, I spoke to the two. Basically, I spoke to Dan and I said, look, I'm not going with anyone for a couple of years, like a year, 2 years, until I know what I'm in the right headspace to start a prep again. Then I'll just be self-coached, because off-season isn't necessarily a hard thing, especially when you're very self-critical. Like when you're self-critical in off-season, it's not that bad, because it's like, okay, you look sloppy as fuck, have a mini cut.
Yeah, but if you're going through that process of, like you said, you're reigniting what it was that you loved initially.
Yeah.
The last thing you want is to then be penciled or pigeonholed to this coach or that coach's plan or method or something. So
exactly,
it gives you complete autonomy to go, do you know what? I'm going to trial this for a few months. Actually, you know what? I'm going to give that a go and just go.
One thing I've said to all my clients is, from day one, I said, anything that I've said to you, believe that I have done or tried. Like my first 2 years of bodybuilding, I was very much Seth Feroce-esque. I was like, I'm my own science experiment. Like, mate, I have done the fucking 600 tests, 2 Anadrol, fucking 500 Deca cycles. Like, I've done it, and it's fucking horrendous. Like, I've done it. Like, I'll admit it. I'll put my hands up. I've been there. I've done that. So you best believe when I talk to a client and say, like, they'll be like, oh, I want to do X, Y, and Z, and I say, no, it's stupid. It will just hurt you. Best believe I've tried it and I've hurt myself on it. Like, I've done it all, and that was when I was really in love with the whole process of it. Was just doing dumb shit and just learning from it, and then doing something and it turns out it's really smart, and you're like, holy shit, I'm amazing.
Even I remember I have this thought quite often. It's like, mate, I used to love the days of like just watching like you said, Seth Feroce or like a John Meadows type training video, and just be like, you know what, I don't want to go give that a go today. Or every week, or something. But that's shit. And not feeling like, oh, I can't because I'm penciled to this. I got told to do that, and I get what you mean, definitely.
So that's essentially I've just said like that, and we're speaking to Dan, and I said to Dan, I said, like, if I ever need a hand, like, I'll give you a shout or something like that. Like, we're mates. He said, yeah, he'll give me a hand if it ever needs be, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he said the other one that would be a good one to look at as well is actually your boy, Tom.
Yeah.
But again, it's not something I'm looking at right now. It's just something that, for future reference, like, realistically, the relationship I've got with Josh, I know it works. We're good mates. I'd probably carry on using Josh anyway. But it was just one of those conversations that was had.
Time and a place, isn't it? Yeah.
Right now, it's just, I just want to focus on getting into off season, blowing up, having a face the size of a fucking pan. Yeah,
most importantly, mate, like, as you would say to your clients, I expect that if you're not enjoying it, you need to speak up. You don't just keep putting one foot in front of the other. If that enjoyment aspect is gone,
like I said to you,
no time to get back to where you were.
Exactly. Like, it's like I said to you again before we started recording, was there's nothing wrong with Josh's programming. I preach it to fucking anyone. Like, he's an amazing coach. He is. Like, I don't have a bad word to say about him.
Yeah.
But for me, I have enjoyed the last couple of weeks of training more than I have for the last like year.
Yeah.
And that's just because, like you said, you're not pigeonholed into anything. You're not, I'm not like, okay, I have to do X, Y, and Z exercise. I don't have to do X, Y, and Z, eat at X, Y, Z time. Like, I've got that freedom now to be like, okay.
I think it comes a point, and this happened to me, I say a few years ago, but not a few years ago, but not long ago. And it was like, you get so encapsulated in following a plan or living in, I'm going to say, the constraints of a program, that you struggle to be without it. And I don't actually think that it's not a good place to be.
No.
It's not a good place to be. Yeah, I can't remember what it was particularly, but it was like, I don't know if it was, it might have been like it might even have been like a holiday or something. It was like, I'm not going to be able to follow my training plan to a T or be on point my nutrition. It was like it just spammed me completely.
Yeah. Just that, like, fucking what the fuck? I'm going on holiday. Why the fuck am I worried about?
yeah. But it's the same thing. It's really weird, really weird.
It's just, I think it's just one of those things where I think people are so, like, they're so focused now in bodybuilding with the whole logbook approach with everything that I think a lot of people just completely overlook enjoyment factors sometimes.
Sorry, my dog's about to.
That's fine. Yeah, I think a lot of people just like overlook or forget about that, like, just childish enjoyment and glee you had when you first began.
Yeah, I remember, like, throughout all my prep last year, pretty much, I didn't want to use a logbook.
Yeah.
So I didn't, because I was not enjoying looking at a logbook for my training. So I didn't. Like, it's that to a degree. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
I think it's because it's so preached and so many people have preached it.
Yeah.
That there is just that little bit of, like, the only way I can think to describe it is like that childish glee. Like when you first walk into a gym and your mate goes, "Do you want to train chest?" And it's like, we've trained chest for 3 days now. And he's like, "Yeah, but do you want to do incline bench?" And you're like, "Yeah, fuck it, let's go do incline bench." And before you know it, you've done 34 sets of fucking chest.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, admittedly, let's just get something clear. Doing chest 3 days in a row and fucking 50 working sets each session ain't going to do shit for you. But I'm just talking in the enjoyment factor of sometimes, like, if you're on a plan and you have, like, I don't know, bent over rows, and suddenly you want to change it for T-bar rows, but you're so obsessed with that logbook that you can't. It's like, well, maybe just take a step back and just fucking do the T-bar rows for a session and have that joy, because you're probably going to get more out of that fucking gleeful moment of thinking you're Ronnie Coleman with fucking 20 plates when realistically you've got a 10 on the end.
I think if I had someone that said to me, like, do you know what, I'm just struggling to find any enjoyment, do it, like, following this plan at the moment, and we've exhausted X, Y, and Z, I would literally just say, don't follow a plan. Just take a few weeks and do what you want to do. Eat how you want to eat, train how you want to train, just do what you enjoy. Then come back to me and tell me what you've been doing.
Yeah. And then just program around that.
From there,
yeah. I think, we've gone over this again 60 times. I feel like the whole logbook process now is on the verge of taking that step too far. Like, don't get me wrong, if you're looking to make progress, it is the most efficient way of making progress. You are going to progress every single session. If you're eating your food, you are then going to grow. You are going to progress. Like, it's undoubtedly the way to go if you're looking for progression. Like, it is. Like, there's nowhere around it. But if you're doing every single session,
there's an argument to be had. That's what I was going to say. There's an argument to be had in terms of, like, what that enjoyment factor, that enjoyment element is gonna return. And if you're taking that away by being confined to a logbook every session, I can guarantee, yeah, like we say, following a logbook is almost like a waterproof, watertight way of making progress. But if you're removing that element where you're actually enjoying fucking doing it, you're enjoying doing it, you're giving you're shortening that runway extremely. Do you know what I mean? Before it becomes
100%.
This is boring as hell. And it's a case of like, it then becomes more of like a punch in, punch out type thing, and not a, oh my god, I'm buzzing to go to training. Like,
100%. And that's what I say to a lot of my clients. I say to them, I'd rather you be like 90% spot on year round and fuck up 10% of where it's like, oh, you've either had an off-plan meal or you've gone and you've trained something differently, you've done something else, that 10% of the year, then you give me 100% for 70% of the year.
Definitely.
And then the other 30% of the year, you're on plan fucking 1% because you've just blown out.
I think I learned that quite early on, when you start coaching people, you start helping people, that not everyone, like, first of all, enjoys and likes following a plan as such. They don't all necessarily want to be like an athlete to that degree, for example. And they don't necessarily, if you've got a lifestyle client, for example, that just wants to get strong and wants to put on some muscle, for example, they don't necessarily have to follow like right, you need to do this workout, you need to do this exact exercise after this exact exercise, because they're just not going to do it. They don't look at it and go, oh, I love doing that. They're going to look at another machine, for example, another exercise, and go, I want to try that today. And that is what's going to keep them going.
The thing is as well, like, if you're not in an environment where you're looking to be top 10% in the world, if you're just looking to be a general, go to the pub, look good, go to the beach with your family, and like, you're that dilf on the beach, or you're that MILF that's walking down the fucking street, then it's like, realistically, you can just go to the gym and be like, okay, here's my plan, but I've got lat pull downs. I don't really like doing lat pull downs, so I'm going to change them for a seated cable row. It's like, okay, it's not really going to make the end of the world. Like, you're still exercising, you're still causing stimulus to an area, like, you're still getting something out of it. Like, if you want to step on stage, if you want to be competitive, then it's a whole different scenario.
Absolutely.
But if, like, I was speaking to a client this morning, and they said, I haven't lost any weight this week. And I was like, yeah, but you've actually lost 3 centimeters on your belly button. Like, just because the weight hasn't come down doesn't mean you're not progressing. Like, you could have gained muscle, lost weight, held the same weight, and look better. Like, don't be attached to this scale weight.
Yeah.
And they were saying, yeah, but like, I don't feel like I've made much progress because of that scale weight. And I'm just like, well, when was the last time you ever went out on a night out and a girl came up to you and went, how much do you weigh? And that was the dictator of whether she sleeps with you that night or not, was how much you weighed. Like, someone's vision of you is very upfront. It is very first opinion, like, oh, they look good. And that is created by an illusion you create in your body. So if you've slimmed your waist by 3 centimeters and that's what they find attractive, they're going to find that attractive, not what the scale weight says.
That's why I always make it clear that when someone starts the process of checking in, that, right, first and foremost, in terms of like what we're using for data, like, pictures are the like be all and end all. Okay, I couldn't care what the weight says. If the picture says something, that's good enough for me. Okay, scale weight for most is just a metric to get a decent understanding as to, right, we're on track, we seem to be producing the result that we're aiming for. I often say to people as well, like, well, I'll go through periods with some clients where they end up getting so like obsessed with an arbitrary number that it's like, right, do me a favor, for the next 2 weeks, I don't even want you to step on a scale.
Just send me a picture.
Do not step on the scales. Your ability to follow a plan and adhere to it, and your pictures are more than enough for me to go by, to gauge.
Like, I've got a girl who, she said to me when she first started, she said, I'm not looking to lose weight. I'm looking to just feel more comfortable within myself.
Yeah.
And I think she had this thing in her head that she was never going to be like skinny.
Yeah.
So I said to her, I said, look, I won't even call it a weight loss plan then.
Yeah.
I'll just, it's like nothing to do with weight loss. This is just you feeling comfortable within yourself.
Just follow it.
Yeah. So I said, we'll just follow the plan. And I think she's now down like 15, 20 pounds. And it's like, we could have maybe lost like 25, 30 pounds, but she's had like a holiday. She's been away 2 weekends camping.
Yeah.
She's done all these other things, and she's diabetic. She's had 2 checkups at the hospital. Both times they've said your blood sugar like level now is at outstandingly better markers than it was previously. Like she's like, oh, I could never go to the gym in shorts. Like this girl came out of the gym after cardio the other day in a sports bra and shorts because she just felt like she's now comfortable enough to do so. And I just said to her, I said, like, what you've done is incredible because so many people would get obsessed with that scale weight. And you've managed to break that stigma, which a lot of people can't do. And it's fucking incredible to see.
That's when if I ever have someone have a contact with anyone or anything like that, and they say, oh yeah, I want to be 13 stone by December. I say, right, okay, why?
Yeah.
Oh, just because I think I feel good at that weight. Have you ever been that weight before? No. But okay, well, fuck that number off.
Yeah.
I mean, you could get to 13 stone and actually look worse.
Yeah, well, 100%. Like, I think it's just such a generational thing now where it's like we're so obsessed with a scale weight or a number.
Yeah, that dictates progression or not.
And that dictates like yeah,
That
like you said. Like I've had people who are like, oh, I want to lose 2 stone by the holiday. And I'm like, okay, well, first of all, it's not, you're asking a holiday in 4 weeks and you want to lose 28 pounds. All right, so you want to lose, I can't even do the fucking math.
I'm not willing to not have my 2 off-plan meals a week.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, so you're not willing to do fucking 2 hours of cardio, take a handful of Clem.
0. Yeah.
Like you're like the only way you could possibly do this is if you fucking licked on diuretics for the next fucking 4 weeks of your life, and gave yourself food poisoning once every other week. Like it's not going to happen. But they're just people just get fixated on that scale weight, and that just is what it is. But
I say that's a Slimming World thing.
Oh, 100%.
Slimmer of the week.
100%, mate. 100%.
Potato chips off. I bet you still look like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah. You've eaten your fucking Pringles because they counted as 1 mark this week.
One sin. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you've had 1 sin. What was your 1 sin? It was a fucking Chinese all-you-could-eat buffet.
5 bananas. Yeah.
Yeah. What was your next week's sin? It was a cheesecake. What was this week's sin? Well, it was a Kit Kat. All right. So your 3 sins from 3 different weeks was all-you-can-eat buffet, a fucking cheesecake, and then a Kit Kat. Little bit of a difference between just your 1 sins each week. But anyway, that's a whole new fucking debate we're gonna start. Yeah. I'm gonna get fucking assassinated by Weight Watchers because of calling out their sin scale.
It's like a stereotypical mum. So what's the setup currently? Now you're self-coached. What have you changed? What have you not changed?
So essentially, I had the extremely depressing moment of looking through my stage photos, which I shouldn't really word it like that. Like, it was a very good showing. I just wasn't necessarily happy with my look. So I looked at that and I picked out what the combination of judges' feedback was and what I thought my feedback was on what I needed to do. So with judges, they just said basically it's purely conditioning, which was expected considering I was 5 weeks early for peaking for a show. And then I was like looking at it and I'm like, okay, major weak points still for me. Like I broke it down in a very like basic way of looking at it, and I said, okay, pick 2 to 3 like major flaws, pick 2 to 3 like flaws, and then pick 2 or 3 strong points. And then when I look at programming, is like, okay, the most frequent things that I'm training are going to be the biggest flaws, and then like below the frequency of that is the middle floors, and then my strong points are minimal frequency. So basically, how I see it is back thickness, which is always going to be an issue for a guy my height and my width. Like it's always going to be an issue. So I'm training pull twice a week, but I've split that into like a thickness and a width based, still overlapping some exercises, but just so you've got the frequency in there. But again, 2 different pull sessions. Just out of my interest of wanting to growth, I've not really trained shoulders in like 2 years. Like the closest thing to delt work I've got is like lateral raises and Y raises. That's all I've got. So I've implemented a couple shoulder movements, a little bit of chest thickness. So basically how it's now split is, well, actually I wonder if I can,
Yeah, get it up.
okay, I can. So
I love the idea of self-coaching for a period of time.
yeah, I wouldn't do it through a prep scenario, just because, especially with myself, with my fucking ability to,
You're flat. You need a refeed.
yeah, it's 2 weeks into dieting, I need a refeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So essentially, you split it: back and hamstrings, chest delts, arms and calves, rest, legs, chest delts and triceps, pull and traps. But one thing I've noticed from the week 1 already is I've swapped them around. So I basically, my going from pull and traps into back and hamstrings was too close, so I just swapped them around essentially. So yeah, back and hamstrings, chest delts and arms, rest, legs, pull and traps, chest delts and triceps. I've started with really minimal volume, literally 10 working sets per like day. Laying hamstring curls, chest supported, single arm dumbbell rows, but I've been doing them as meadow rows.
Oh yeah.
And I've actually just found like
Unilateral.
yeah, so that range of movement, I just get a really good contraction with, which I've never really done. But again, this week where I've had things to try, just worked really well. Then rack pulls.
Would you just hold the barbell for that, or do you have a grip on it?
I just load 10s on it so the bar still can get all the way down to the floor, and I just hold it right at the end of the barbell. And what I do is I've got really long wraps, so I actually wrap the wraps around and I just hold it with like my last 3 fingers.
Oh.
And that gets good enough hold on the bar that I'm good there. And then like rack pulls, so essentially that's more like a contraction based rack pull rather than like a progressive overload rack pull.
Yeah.
So it's like rowing back and then having that full squeeze back contraction, like almost like a shrug movement. They're just some rear delts. Calves, couple of incline presses, a couple of raises, and then some arms. And these are all just exercises which I've never really tried in a long period of time.
Wow.
But now I've done them in these weeks. I'm like, oh shit, I actually really get a solid contraction from these. So they're all exercises that I actually generally feel more than something that may on paper
do you know what not one cuff.
No, I can change.
No, I know, but
yeah, I can change it, but my mentality towards training at the moment,
yeah,
it'll probably change later on into later stages where I need to be a little bit more focused, and I'm like fucking lateral raising like 30 kg dumbbells and I'm starting to swing and all that sort of shit. Like, you know the drill. Like, yeah, I'll probably move to cuffs.
Yeah.
But for now, I'm just enjoying fucking grabbing some dumbbells, and like those 2 sets, realistically, I say 10 to 15. I'll probably just run the rack.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
Like once you just like, I've got carbs, I've got things in me, I'm just enjoying training. I'm just gonna fucking pick up the 20s and just run the rack.
Well, kind of like an AMRAP set, really. But what when you put front raise, how you doing that, dumbbell or cable?
So front raise, what I actually tried, normally I would always do dumbbells. What I actually changed them to this week was front cable. So having like a stiff bar and
Yeah.
just having like a cable. Fuck me, does that work?
Yeah. Do you know what
Again,
I used to love doing was is I used to finish on actually
yeah,
was just like um a, a plate front raises
yeah.
and just used to go full metal jacket AMRAP.
Okay, hold up. I need to let me. Okay, so were you this guy?
Never.
No,
No, no, no, no, no,
you
no,
weren't the
no.
bus driver. You
No,
weren't.
no,
No.
imagine. That's
Mate,
the
I
same guy.
had to
That's the
check.
same guy that holds the dumbbell or the
Yeah,
plate.
yeah. A bit about.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
soon as you said that, I
No,
recognised
just
it. I had to check.
honestly, and yeah, I still love them. To be honest, there's still something that if I was felt like doing at the end of a session, I'd just go and absolutely fill up on blood. But
Mate,
yeah,
I'm gonna get like fucking tagged in a story, aren't I? Just
yeah.
I'm gonna tagged in a story from you this week of just
Doing front weight.
just doing
Yeah,
fundraisers. It'll be a full leg workout and then fucking
yeah,
fundraisers.
yeah, yeah. Imagine, yeah,
Intuitive training. I felt like
yeah,
doing some
yeah,
fundraisers.
yeah.
Um,
It's that epitomizes what we're saying. It's like I like to that I enjoy doing that. Like it's not an exercise. I go, oh, I've got to do a fucking incline barbell press. It's like, oh yeah, I love doing that. I'm gonna go and do it. Do you know
yeah,
what I mean?
exactly. And that's literally what I've been doing this week.
Yeah,
And that's why like that's why I just had to change that bit there then was because this week I've had the logbook. I've not written any weights. I've just written the order of the exercises. Mate, I have never scribbled out a logbook so many times in my life where I've gone, okay, I'm going to do this.
yeah,
I've done one set and I've gone, that's wank. And I've just gone, fuck that. Next exercise. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm going through my head, I'm going, okay, I want to hit this. Like one thing, okay, so this is one thing that I've been doing quite frequently now is I in my head, I'll go, what exercise am I trying to select for? Like, what is the pose that I'm weak in that I'm trying to choose the exercise to create? And the one that I figured out the most was I was like, okay, back double bicep. I'm like, okay, so that, what am I contracting when I'm doing this? And I'm like, okay, I'm pulling down, I'm doing this. I'm like, okay, so if I'm doing that and I'm trying to exercise this movement, again, I'm not going to get fucking specific, but I'm like, that's just a pull down. So I'd do a pull down and I'd try do a back double bicep in a pull down.
yeah,
And I'm like, okay, that feels fucking spot on. And I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, what's my next exercise? I'm trying to do fucking front lat spread. What is the weak point in the front lat spread? Okay, so I need some more width. So I'm like, okay, what movement is going to create that movement in that joint or that muscle that I'm trying to improve for that pose? And I'm like, okay, I'm trying to get my lat insertion. And I'm like, okay, well, how am I going to get the moving part of my lat the closest point to the insertion point? And I'm like, okay, rows, bent over rows, no, cable rows, meadow rows. Oh, yeah, meadow row. And then I'm like, okay, meadow rows.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
got to the end of the workout and I'm like, I then hit like 2 or 3 poses and I'm like, these poses feel full as fuck.
Kind of the best way of programming,
Yeah,
like
like it's
for a
like,
session. You go,
mate,
oh, yeah.
don't get me wrong. I could get 6 months down the line and I could hit these poses and I could look fucking absolutely wank. But
Imagine. Yeah.
I know,
But
okay,
at
well
least
that's
you enjoyed it.
yeah, but I fucking enjoyed every minute of it. And you can guarantee I'm going to be fucking in that gym doing my meadow rows, doing my fucking,
Yeah,
doing my rack pulls with a
yeah,
contraction, hyperextending my back to the point where I look like a bikini girl in a fucking back pose. And I'm like fucking this, but I'm going to fucking enjoy every fucking second of it.
yeah. Do you know what? On this again, we me, Beth, and one of our mates trained the other day, and because there was 3 of us, we was training legs, and it was like we got to condense some of this work down. And I couldn't tell you the last time I've supersetted an exercise. I honestly couldn't tell you. We went from no leg, was it leg extension? Leg extension into like walking
I
lunges.
love them, mate. I love them.
And I was like, fucking, it's just some gets you going. I don't know what it. We just fucking loved it. Yeah,
Mate,
was absolutely wrecked the next day as well.
yeah, that superset, I swear down, I did for like a year and a half
Yeah,
religiously. Was
yeah,
leg extensions into short stepped lunges.
yeah,
And mate, it fucked me up every single week. And I'd do it until I couldn't walk again. And I loved
yeah,
every single session of it.
yeah.
And I now haven't done it for like a year. So I'm going to add that to my leg session next week. I'm going
Yeah, do it. Like all of there's a time and a place for like little intensifiers and whatnot. But 9 times out of 10, like you can actually get away with doing them. You're not,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, anything like, even if it's some like blood flow restriction or a fucking drop set. I couldn't. Last time I've done a drop set, I could not tell you. Haven't done any form of intensifier other than Widowmaker.
I'm
Yeah.
just trying to think, and I think this week alone, I think I've done maybe 10 drop sets.
Literally, Chef Feroci, yeah.
Mate, it's just that is like progressive overload for me is something that I enjoy having a logbook and going, okay, I need to beat that. I need to get stronger, and knowing I'm getting stronger. But my origin of training is one more rep,
Yeah.
one more rep, one more rep.
Yeah.
And it's not the heaviest weight. It's not, okay, get 8. It's like, okay, pick up the 15s and do 20 reps. Okay, you're fucked and can't move. Do 5 pulses.
Yeah,
you can't do 5 pulses. Get your mate to come behind you and just tip the fucking dumbbells a little bit so it looks like you're shunting something, but you ain't doing fuck all. But you're going 5 more, and he's screaming in the back of you, go, one more rep, and you're going,
yeah.
I'm just,
especially on, I think you could probably make the argument for like on a movement like a lateral raise. If you're doing like I don't know, a triple drop set, or you're extending the set in some which way, are you really going to be causing that much extra like energy debt? Probably not. Your lateral is going to recover so fucking quick. Same event, your arms realistically. I used to program for James actually on an arm day. It was his arm day was just go in and train arms until you can't train arms anymore, and then get out.
Can you touch your delt?
Yeah,
yeah. Leave
that was it.
You're
Yeah, that was it. That was it. And then as soon as we got to that point, it was right. That's what we're doing now. We'll, like we said, reverse engineer it, and we'll work back from there. But yeah, go in and just train arms until you can't curl another thing, and you can't extend and get out.
Like that essentially is what I'm going to be doing for the next 12 months of my life. And I'll either come back fucking massive,
broken,
or I'll come back with a fucking
Joe Brocken.
Yeah, literally. I'll come back looking like Branch Warren, or I'll come back looking like fucking Ronnie Coleman does now, in a wheelchair, 16 fused discs.
Yeah.
And like I'll go one or the other way. But like you
enjoy it, man. I think you should start documenting more of your training on your Instagram and doing this shit as well. Like stripping it back, show everyone what you're doing in terms of training, because I think people are going to go, oh my god, you're not doing 2 sets of an 8 to 10 and a 12 to 15. What on earth are you doing?
Mate, the thing is, I will get so much hate as well.
Because,
why? Like,
I mean, more so. I mean, why would you give a shit about it?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, like I'll probably do it just because I like causing drama.
It's what you're doing. So what? Yeah. They're the people that are just doing what they've been told to do by X, Y, and Z. You're doing what you need to do. So
right. So this is the one that cracked me up. Right? Is so this I'll get so much fucking flack for this. So how long do you take between sets?
Not massively long. It depends on the exercise, but
yeah. Just talk like you caught your breath, essentially.
I'm not like, and I feel like I could go substantial on that.
Yeah. So
I call it sufficiently recovered, but yeah.
So when I'm training for a logbook, I'm the same. I'm like, I'll do a set, and I'm like, okay, I've caught my breath. I feel like I can do that set and progress on that set. I'll train, and I'll do my set. Okay, so this week, I'll go to failure to the point of like, okay, I can't move. I'm like, just a couple of sloppy whatevers, and then I'm like done. And I'll literally just be like, okay,
I'm ready.
Let's go again. And I'll pick it up, and I'll just fucking go again.
I still have moments like that in my training, man.
I finished 4 sets on leg extensions in the time it took me to listen to 2 songs.
Yeah, mad.
6 minutes, I finished 4 sets. And they were all 15 rep sets.
I bet you felt fucking fantastic.
Mate, I got up, I couldn't fucking walk, I couldn't breathe. I thought I was going to shit my pants. I could see black spots.
When was the last time you felt like that?
Mate, I fucking loved every second.
Even before prep.
Mate, I fucking loved every second of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm just, my style in which I grew up training and where I started loving it was very much like Branch Warren.
Yeah.
Like You know, you watch him train now with a youngster, and he's got like the entire stack on. He's got zero form, and he's
Yeah,
just swinging fucking
yeah,
lat pull downs. He looks
yeah,
like he's doing a kip pull up with a
yeah.
fucking lat pull down, and then he puts it down, and he's like, "Go!" And his kid's like, "But I'm not ready," and he's like, "Fucking go!" Like that was me training, and that's where I got my joy from. That's where I got my excitement
Could
from.
you
So
imagine saying to Branch, like, right, we're gonna do a set of 10 to 12 in, mate. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a little bit of a rest period, and then we're gonna go for like a 12 to 15.
yeah,
What weight do you reckon you're gonna aim?
yeah. Even
He just
better.
like, will take the pin out and stab it in anywhere.
Even better, you just be like, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a like a rest pause. So
Yeah.
I want you to do 6 reps,
Yeah.
leave a couple reps in the tank,
Yeah.
wait 15 seconds,
He
then go
doesn't
again.
six reps doesn't compute with him.
Yeah, it's like,
Anything below 14, he's like,
yeah, and a rest pause with the reps in reserve, and he's just gone.
Yeah.
What the
Yeah.
what?
all he's hearing is that you haven't said the word drop set, and he's
Yes.
thinking, wait, this isn't even a real set. If it's not a drop
Yes.
set, what are you doing?
He hasn't even heard anything other than static. He's just heard white noise. Like you've spoken, it's just going.
If you say the word drop set, he then comes alive. Like,
But yeah, no, that is like I said. I'm either gonna fucking be shit or I'm gonna be fucking all right.
listen,
But
you're doing your
I'm
own.
fucking-
You're
I'm
doing
gonna
your
love
own.
doing
You're being your own guinea pig at the minute. If
And
it
that's
works,
that's what
if
got
it
me into
doesn't,
this. So.
yeah, yeah, man.
Anyway, man, I don't know how long this has been now. I feel like we definitely rambled on, but
Yeah.
and Taylor never woke up, so I don't know where Taylor is. He's the
Very-
one that even said 4:30.
Yeah, he actually. Yeah. I know.
He's the
Like, yeah,
so
that's good for me.
we'll just call him out quickly, real quick,
Yeah.
just because he won't listen this far in anyway. He won't hear this anyway. But we said like, okay, name a time. It's been like 3 days we've been trying to record this.
Yeah.
We
I
just
think
keep
from
fucking
now
up.
on, we pick one of 2 days, and we just say, right, boom, boom, boom. Even if it's bi-weekly, we'll just
Yeah.
fucking do it.
We just say and if someone doesn't turn up, we just record it. And
They don't turn up. Yeah, we'll do,
They
that's
don't turn
such a
up,
better
okay.
idea. Yeah.
Because
Taylor.
Anyway, man, it was good to have a catch up.
Yeah, man.
And yeah, now you know my life has literally done a fucking
180.
180 in the span of a
Upside
week. Yeah, mate.
Triple backflip.
I'm now a. Oh, sorry, I won't even say that now.
What?
I was going to say I'm now a transgender bikini competitor.
Got his own flag as well.
Yeah, fucking. Oh, mate, don't even. I'll just.
But no,
forget
I'll be
it.
excited to see how things go, mate. I'll be excited to watch for sure.
Yeah, I'll
Start getting
I'll
you shit
look at
up. I want
recording
to see
some
it.
shit.
I want to see it because I'm going to live my training through you.
Yeah, you'll be crying in your logbook as I'm
Yeah.
crying from fucking broken
Running down the
backs.
page.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Anyway, man, I'll catch you around. We'll
sweet, brother.
have a catch up soon.
Sweet, man.
Have a good one.
Laters.